But what makes Pullman special is the role it's played in our history. And the mayor talked a little bit about this. This place has been a milestone in our journey toward a more perfect union. But the idea they had sparked, the idea of organizing and collectively bargaining, couldn't be silenced. Could not be silenced. And so, just 6 days after the strike ended, an act of Congress established Labor Day, a day to honor working men and women of America. And gradually our country would add protections that we now take for granted. A 40-hour work week, the weekend, overtime pay, safe workplace conditions, and the right to organize for higher wages and better opportunities. So this site is at the heart of what would become America's labor movement. And as a consequence, at the heart of what would become America's middle class. Because as Americans, we believe that workers' rights are civil rights, that dignity and opportunity aren't just gifts to be handed down by a generous government or by a generous employer. They are rights given by God, as undeniable and worth protecting as the Grand Canyon or the Great Smoky Mountains. And that's why throughout our history we've marched not only for jobs but also for justice. Not just for the absence of oppression, but for the presence of opportunity. And ultimately that wasn't just for African Americans, any more than the original Pullman Union was just for white workers. Eventually that principle would be embraced on behalf of women and Latinos and Native Americans, for Catholics and Jews and Muslims, for LGBT Americans, for Americans with mental and physical disabilities. That's the idea that was embodied right here. It's why we keep fighting to help working families feel more secure in a constantly changing world, with child care and equal pay, a higher minimum wage, and paid sick days, something I know that's on the ballot here in Chicago. It's why we have to keep fighting to treat these issues like the economic priorities they are, but they're also ideas about justice and fairness and the worth of every individual. That's the story of this place. That together we can do great things that we cannot accomplish alone. That's why today I'm designating Chicago's Pullman District as America's newest national monument. I want this younger generation, I want future generations to come learn about their past. Because I guarantee you there are a lot of young people right here in Chicago, just a few blocks away, living in this neighborhood who may not know that history. I want future generations to know that while the Pullman Porters helped push forward our rights to vote and to work and to live as equals, their legacy goes beyond even that. That these men and women, without rank, without wealth or title, became the bedrock of a new middle class. These men and women gave their children and grandchildren opportunities they never had. So to the young people here today, that's what I hope you take away from this place. It is right that we think of our national monuments as these amazing vistas and mountains and rivers. But part of what we're preserving here is also history. It's also understanding that places that look ordinary are nothing but extraordinary. The places you live are extraordinary, which means you can be extraordinary. You can make something happen. The same way these workers here in Pullman made something happen. That's not to tell you that life's always going to be fair, or even that America will always live up to its ideals. But it is to teach us that no matter who you are, you stand on the shoulder of giants. You stand on the site of great historic movements. And that means you can initiate great historic movements by your own actions. Generations before you fought and sacrificed, and some lost their jobs, and some lost their lives to give you a better chance to be what A. Philip Randolph called the master of your fate. And I think all they'd ask for in return is that you take advantage of that. And when your time comes, you'll fight just as hard to give somebody else that chance. Because for all the progress that we've made, and we have made a lot of progress, our moral revolution is unfinished. And it's up to each of us to protect that promise of America and expand that promise of opportunity for all people. That long march has never been easy. This place, historic Pullman, teaches us we have to keep standing firm and together. That's the story of who we are. That's the story of our past. And I have no doubt that we will pass the torch from generation to generation so that it is the story of our future as well. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Chicago. Thank you, Pullman. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.